Today's video is about collective healing fields. And you may never have heard this term or thought too much about it, but you've probably had experiences during your life where a community of shared feeling came about, perhaps at a retreat or a school or church camp, or in various subcultures or concerts or Burning Man. But you went to a place, often the actual physical location matters, a place where there was some kind of holding that could happen and where people were able to experience each other more deeply and some kind of transformation was able to happen. And these are incredibly special times when these fields come into being. And our culture doesn't necessarily support them. And it's easy for competitive dynamics in a culture to create more and more protective layers and less shared vulnerability. And we lose this aspect of healing fields, which is something that's part of the human birthright and anthropological record, Eleusinian mysteries, all kinds of full moon dance ritual type events that have been a common feature of the human record. And so today we're going to look more deeply at collective healing fields and to think about what are the key ingredients and how do we cultivate the kind of environment that supports healing. So the basic unit of relating, the basic unit of a relationship is this three-part diagram. The first part is I feel me. I am a feeling being. I am in touch with myself and I know how I feel. And that's really the first layer. We can't do anything until we've got that. Once we have that, we can take in someone else's impression that they're making on us. We can feel the impact they make. We can feel maybe something about their essence. We can feel something toward them. And then we can feel that they are feeling us, that they are in rhythm with us. They are giving us indications that they are tuned to us. And that third category there, once we start to feel that someone else feels us, and once they start to feel that we feel them, then we've opened up the bandwidth of the relationship. And nothing really can be shared of value until we've done that. And the more that we can feel each other feeling ourselves, the more information can be shared via the channel because the bandwidth is wider. Another thing to think of here is thinking of love as specific attunement. That love is not a kind of broad sweeping type of thing, but if you really care for someone, you're attuned to them, you know what they are going through, you know what their likes and dislikes are, and you really have to open up this bandwidth to experience love. Otherwise, love is just an abstraction. We might also think of the object relations type approach where we hold the object of the other in our own mind. Every one of us is reflected in each other's minds. And so that model that we have of each other can be out of date or it can be updating. And a lot of people, they already think they know what other people are like. They have an image which is fairly fixed of the other. And they don't look for new evidence to update it. And that's their way of being. Whereas once you open this bandwidth and you can feel the other, you're allowing your model of the other to update. And as your model of the other updates, your model of yourself updates because we all reflect each other. And so a lot of things you can see in the other, you will start to be able to see in yourself. And as you do that with many people, your model of the social world and the environment and reality as such is able to update. As your model of reality gets closer and closer to reality, you approach health. And that's really what a lot of mental health is about, fixing distortions, fixing places where your mental map does not reflect the actual world. And so the basic unit of relating is a way of getting new information to help update yourself. And in doing it, you actually help the other update as well. So Heather Plett, who wrote a book called The Art of Holding Space, and who runs the Center for Holding Space, has come up with this metaphor, which is a very old metaphor for holding space, which is the bowl. And her idea of the bowl is that before we can tend to others, we need to tend to ourselves. We have lots of common phrases around this, like putting your oxygen mask on first, or you can't pour from an empty cup, letting your cup fill up first before you let others drink. Her way of modeling this is to have 3 different layers. And on the top layer is what we offer others. And this is how others experience us while we're holding them. And I guess we should say, what is holding? When would it happen? And this is when someone comes to you with something where they are no longer tethered. They've moved into some kind of liminal space, which means a transition or between space. And they're not too sure of their identity at that point. They're between the pier and the boat. They're in this kind of space where they're looking to update themselves, looking to discover themselves in some way, or looking to heal in some way. And so the kind of top layer of the bowl is how we are experienced by this other person who's going through some kind of transition or liminal time. So the features are witnessing, containment, compassion, selective non-judgment, guidance, space for complexity, autonomy, flexibility, connection, and allyship. You may recognize some alignment with self-energy. These are qualities that help someone who's going through a hard time to be contained so that their spiraling doesn't go off the rails and lead into too wide of a spin, but can be contained by your presence. So in order to do that, we need to be guided by something. In Heather Plett's system, guidance is intuition, discernment, humility, courage, curiosity. It's our kind of operating system for how we're holding space. And then the final layer, what supports us, this is the self-care layer. It includes community, it includes our spirituality or our own relationship to mystery. And if we don't have that, we can't really provide any containment for someone else. We may think we are, but actually we're just getting caught up in their system. We need to experience ourselves as a contained, sensitive being, and we need to be taking care of ourselves in order to provide care to another. So this is how in this course, this is what we're going to keep in mind as we hold space for others, that we are holding ourselves and we don't lose touch with that. And then that provides the kind of space that someone else can use. This also comes from Heather Plett. So you can think of the way that I hold space for you and the way that you hold space for me might interact. The white kind of swoop or shape on the left there that includes the bowl, that's myself, and I'm holding a little bit of the other, the black dot on my side. And by cultivating those qualities, I'm able to provide a space for this little bit of fragmented other that's not being held right now to experience some containment that can help it to become integrated or useful to the rest of the other. And vice versa, part of myself is being held by the other, which is helping that part come into more relationship with the rest of me. And the important thing about this diagram is that there's a shape to it. We need boundaries. We're only taking on an aspect of the other. We're not taking on all of their complexity. And that we stay in balance. This whole symbol is about balance. And we're able to maintain our sense of wholeness and shape while still being valuable to the other. So a very important concept is somatic resonance. We've talked about it a little bit. There's an actual experience when we drop into the body where more of our nervous system comes online, and there's more feeling, there's more of a sense of ourselves. We know where we're at, and there's a feeling of kind of dropping in that establishes somatic resonance. And when you feel somatic resonance, you are able to notice it in others, and you're able to notice the absence of it in others. So somatic resonance is something you can cultivate in yourself, and something that supports other people to come into resonance. So we do something called co-regulation. We're always tuning into the people around us and taking on some of their state. So that could move you into a more anxious way of being, or it could help you drop into a deeper relaxation. And while we're holding space for others, we don't want to overfocus on story or detail. What's important is to get the essentials of the speaker, to feel what they're feeling, and to help them feel felt. In order to do this, we don't want to listen from a protector where we're trying to fix or trying to get rid of the situation in some way. What we're trying to do is help them feel their own resonance. And that's the goal of the type of listening that we're supporting in this course. So another metaphor for somatic resonance is inner soil. And the more we can cultivate the particles of feeling, the more of our body is online, that our nervous system is fully there, that the soil has become thick, we can support growth. Nature needs a substrate to come out of. Ideas need to be held within feeling. And Thomas Hübel's got a great phrase: the more we can feel our inner land, the less we will fight over the outer land. Another metaphor that we're going to use is the satellite dish and the body as a satellite dish. So as you develop somatic resonance, you get more and more sensors that come online. And you can think of the satellite dish as, a parabolic surface that reflects back information. So the body is a kind of three-dimensional sensing array that provides us with information. You can think of every data point being held equally. That can help you to drop into full field awareness, where your whole nervous system is online, or at least enough of it to get a good sense that you're picking up most of what the person is putting out. Your full body is listening, and you have made yourself available to the other. And the satellite dish here has a base structure. We need to be grounded. We need to be anchored. And that's in your own sensing of yourself. So we're providing this dish or bowl for the other, and then we're grounding it into the earth through our own bodies and our own self as an entity. And that's what provides something valuable to the other. If we are just floating, we're not grounded, then that's not valuable. So as we come together in groups, and we're all able to drop into deeper resonance, then our nervous systems form a kind of array. They're all tuning in together, and that provides a potential energy where more and more of what's under the surface is able to be experienced. And more we can see ourselves in others, we can feel ourselves in others, and good things start to happen. It's a kind of potential energy that gets unlocked when enough people are feeling into the underlying somatic emotional layers. And so this is the goal of the work. The way we do group work is that we have everyone tune in, providing supportive, non-judgmental, kind energy. And then we see what wants to happen in an individual system when it's held by others in this way. And that gives us a containment and a support for something that's been wanting to happen. So as we do this, we can start to think of other cultural models from the Western top-down power-over model. And a lot of our relating in the West is to do with acting like we feel we should, and using power and status to relate to each other. And as we feel more and more, we start to deepen our relationships, and new ways of relating start to emerge, and ecosystems take the place of egosystems. So more and more we cultivate systems that align better with nature and align better with our nature. And this may not be everyone. Some people may not be able to let go of the old systems. And nature is always working around fixed elements. And that doesn't mean we need to not develop our ecosystems, those of us who are interested in aligning with our nature. And as we do that, our ecosystem becomes stronger and healthier, and that becomes a kind of support network that supports the bowl, that allows for us to heal each other. We really do need community for this kind of work. So that's all we're going to do today. You can think about, how do I cultivate the right conditions in order to hold other people in my life? How do I hold myself well enough for that? How do I deepen my sense of feeling that provides a reflective surface for the other?